Hey there, wonderful folks, and welcome back to the 60 Plus Wellness Way channel. So glad you're joining me today. Now, listen up, because what we're gonna talk about today is, well, it's kinda a big deal. Seriously. It's one of those topics that can genuinely be a game changer for your health, for your future, and for the peace of mind of everyone who cares about you. We're talking about your heart. You know, as we cruise past those fabulous 50s and head into our 60s, 70s, and beyond, our bodies, they start sending us little messages. And sometimes, those messages are super important, especially when it comes to something as vital as your ticker. We're talking about heart attacks. Now, I know, just hearing those words can make folks a little uneasy, right? It's a scary thought. But here's the deal, what's even scarier is not knowing the signs, or worse, chalking up something serious to just getting older or a bit of indigestion. Today, we're gonna pull back the curtain on something really crucial. Those sneaky, subtle signs that your heart might be trying to tell you something's up, sometimes even a whole month before a major heart attack actually hits. Yeah, you heard me right, a month. Imagine that. That's precious time. Time to get checked out, time to make some changes, time to potentially save your life. Because knowing these signs isn't about scaring you, it's about empowering you. It's about giving you the knowledge, the clarity, and frankly, the courage to take action. Now, before we dive deep into this, I gotta throw out a quick but super important disclaimer, alright? What we're discussing today is for educational purposes only. I'm here to share information, insights, and some seriously valuable tips, but I am not your doctor. Every single one of you is unique, and your health journey is personal. So, if anything we talk about today resonates with you, if you start noticing any of these signs, or if you just have a gut feeling something's not right, please, call your healthcare provider. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Pick up that phone, make that appointment. Got it? Awesome. Your doctor is your best partner in this journey. Okay, let's talk about why this is especially important for our amazing 60-plus crowd. You see, when we think of a heart attack, most of us picture that dramatic scene from the movies, right? Someone clutching their chest, falling to the ground, intense pain. And yeah, that can happen. But for many, especially older adults, and even more so for women, heart attack symptoms can be way more subtle, way more sneaky. They don't always come with that huge, obvious Hollywood flair. They can be mild, they can come and go, and they can be easily mistaken for other, less serious things, like indigestion, muscle strain, or even just feeling tired. And because our bodies change as we age, our pain perception can shift too, making those classic symptoms less clear. That's why being clued into these early warnings is like having a superpower. It gives you an edge. So, let's roll up our sleeves and get into the nitty-gritty. We're breaking down 8 key signs that your heart might be sending you an SOS signal a month in advance. We'll talk about what they are, why they happen, and what to do if you spot them. Sign 1, that pesky, unexplained fatigue. And I mean real fatigue, not just tired. Okay, so let's kick things off with one of the most common, yet often overlooked, early warning signs, especially for women, fatigue. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, fatigue. Honey, I'm 65. Of course, I'm tired. And you're right, a little fatigue is a normal part of life, especially if you've had a busy day, didn't sleep well, or just overdid it. But we're not talking about your run-of-the-mill, I need a nap tired here. We're talking about a deeper, more profound, and often unexplained exhaustion. Imagine this, you wake up after a full night's sleep, you haven't done anything particularly strenuous, and yet, you feel completely drained. Like you've just run a marathon, but you haven't even tied your shoes. Or you find everyday tasks, things that used to be a breeze, like walking to the mailbox, doing the dishes, or just getting dressed, suddenly feel like monumental efforts. You're out of breath just walking across the living room. Your arms feel heavy, your legs feel like lead. This isn't just, oh, I'm a bit tired today. This is a new level of weariness that hits you out of nowhere and sticks around. Now, why does this happen? Well, when your heart isn't working as efficiently as it should, say, because arteries are narrowing and blood flow is getting restricted. Even slightly, it has to work a lot harder to pump blood and oxygen throughout your body. Think of it like this, your heart is your body's main pump. If that pump is struggling, every other part of your body isn't getting the oxygen and nutrients it needs to function properly. Your muscles don't get enough fuel, your brain feels foggy, and your whole system just gets worn out. It's like trying to run a car on an almost empty tank, it'll sputter and struggle. This kind of fatigue is persistent. It doesn't go away with a good night's sleep or a leisurely weekend. It might even get worse as the day goes on. You might feel a profound sense of exhaustion even when resting. And it can be one of the earliest signs, sometimes showing up weeks, or even a month, before a heart attack. For our male viewers, while this sign is more commonly highlighted for women, it's absolutely something men should be aware of too. Don't dismiss feeling unusually tired, especially if it's accompanied by other symptoms we'll discuss. So, the takeaway here for sign number 1, if you're experiencing a new, severe, or unexplained fatigue that limits your usual activities, and it's not going away, that's a red flag waving in the wind. Don't just brush it off as part of getting older. It might be your heart trying to whisper something important to you. Pay attention. Sign 2, shortness of breath and trouble catching your wind. Alright, let's move on to our second crucial sign, and this one often goes hand in hand with that fatigue we just talked about, shortness of breath. Or, as we often say, feeling like you can't catch your breath, or just generally having trouble breathing easily. Again, like fatigue, it's easy to dismiss this one. Oh, I just climbed a flight of stairs, I'm winded. Or I haven't exercised in a while, so I'm out of shape. And sure, those things can make you a little breathless. but what we're talking about here is different. This is shortness of breath that's out of proportion to your activity level, or it happens during activities that never used to make you breathless before. Imagine this: you're walking across a flat parking lot, something you do every week, and suddenly you feel like you've just sprinted 100 yards. You're huffing and puffing. And it takes a while to get your breathing back to normal. Or maybe you're just sitting down, watching TV, and all of a sudden, you feel like you can't get enough air. You might even wake up in the middle of the night feeling breathless, or find yourself propping up more pillows to sleep because lying flat makes it harder to breathe. This isn't just being a little winded. This is a noticeable, uncomfortable struggle to get air into your lungs. And it can be quite alarming when it happens. So, what's going on inside your body when this happens? Well, it circles back to that heart working overtime. If your heart isn't pumping blood effectively, blood can start to back up in the veins that lead to your lungs. This causes fluid to leak into the air sacs of your lungs, making it harder for oxygen to get into your bloodstream and for carbon dioxide to leave. It's like trying to breathe through a damp sponge. Your lungs are trying to do their job, but they're not getting the cooperation they need from the heart. This struggle to breathe, known medically as dyspnea, is a significant symptom. It can occur before, during, or even after physical exertion, and in severe cases, it can happen even at rest. If your heart is struggling, it just can't keep up with the body's demand for oxygen, especially during activity. For older adults, this symptom can sometimes be subtle. You might just feel tired or out of breath more easily than before. You might find yourself avoiding activities that used to be easy because you anticipate getting winded. This is your body adjusting to a reduced heart function. If you find yourself frequently gasping for air, feeling like you can't get a full breath, or experiencing shortness of breath that's new or worsening, especially if it's not explained by strenuous activity, that's another critical signal from your heart. It's saying, "Hey, I'm working too hard here. I need some help." Don't ignore it. It's not just a sign of getting older, it could be a sign of a heart that's struggling. Okay, you got it? Let's keep rolling and uncover more of these crucial signals your heart might be sending your way. We've talked about that deep, unexplained fatigue and the shortness of breath that just doesn't make sense. Now, let's dive into some others that can be a bit more familiar, but still show up in tricky ways for older adults. Sign 3. Chest discomfort that's not always crushing pain. Alright, so when most folks think heart attack, this is usually the first thing that pops into their head: chest pain. And yeah, that can be a major symptom. But here's the kicker, especially for our 60-plus audience, it's not always that dramatic, crushing, elephant on my chest kind of pain that you see in the movies. Sometimes, it's much more subtle, more like a discomfort, a pressure, or even just an odd sensation. We're talking about a feeling of pressure, tightness, fullness, or a squeezing sensation in the center of your chest. It might feel like something is sitting on your chest, or like a tight band is wrapped around it. It can come and go, lasting for a few minutes, then easing up, only to return later. It might not even be painful in the classic sense, it could just be an uncomfortable pressure. Now, here's why this is so important for you to understand. For older adults, particularly women, diabetics, or those with certain neurological conditions, the typical sharp chest pain might be absent. You might describe it as heartburn, indigestion, or just a general uneasy feeling in your chest. It might not be localized to one small spot, it could be a general area. Why does this happen? When the blood flow to your heart muscle is reduced or blocked, that's what a heart attack essentially is. Your heart muscle doesn't get enough oxygen. This lack of oxygen causes the muscle cells to start struggling, and that struggle sends out signals that your brain interprets as discomfort or pain. It's your heart screaming for help. Think of it like this: if you hold your breath for too long, your body starts to protest, right? Your heart muscle does the same thing when it's starved for oxygen. But for some folks, that protest doesn't come out as a piercing scream, it's more like a dull ache or a heavy sigh. So, if you're experiencing new or unusual pressure, tightness, or a squeezing sensation in your chest that you can't quite explain, or if it comes and goes, even if it's mild, that's a significant warning. Don't write it off as just a little gas or heartburn. Especially if it's accompanied by any of the other signs we're discussing, it's absolutely something to get checked out ASAP. Your comfort level is important, but your heart's health is paramount. Sign 4, pain or discomfort in other body parts, the tricky referral pain. Alright, this next one is a biggie, and it often trips people up because the pain isn't in your chest at all. We're talking about pain or discomfort that radiates to other parts of your upper body. This is what doctors call referred pain, and it's a classic, yet often misunderstood, symptom of a heart attack, especially a looming one. So, instead of just your chest, you might feel pain, numbness, tingling, or discomfort in your arm, often the left arm, but it can be either arm, or both. It might start in your shoulder and move down your arm, or it could just be a deep ache in your bicep or forearm. It's not usually a sharp, pinpoint pain, but more of a generalized ache or heaviness. Your back, this can be a real sneaky one. You might feel a dull ache or pressure in your upper back, between your shoulder blades, or even lower down. Many people mistake this for muscle strain, arthritis, or just sleeping wrong. But if it's persistent, unusual, and doesn't go away with stretching or typical remedies, pay attention. Your neck or jaw, this can manifest as a tightness around your jaw, like you're clenching your teeth, or a discomfort in your neck, sometimes extending up towards your ear. It might feel like a toothache, even if your teeth are fine. Your stomach/abdomen, this might feel like indigestion, a burning sensation, or general abdominal discomfort. We'll dive into this a bit more with our next sign, but it's worth noting here too. Why does your heart attack pain show up in all these different places? It's kind of fascinating, actually. Your nerves from your heart, and the nerves from your arms, jaw, back, and even your stomach, all travel through the same general pathways to your brain. When your heart is in distress, your brain sometimes gets confused about where the pain is really coming from, and it refers the sensation to these other areas. It's like a crossed wire in your body's electrical system. This referred pain can be intermittent, meaning it comes and goes, or it can be constant. It might feel like a dull ache, a pressure, or sometimes a burning sensation. And the key is that it's unexplained and persistent. If you haven't lifted anything heavy, haven't strained your back, and suddenly you have this weird, persistent pain in your jaw or arm that just won't quit. Especially if it's coupled with that fatigue or shortness of breath, that's a serious warning sign. So, don't just dismiss that weird ache in your shoulder or that nagging feeling in your jaw. Your body is interconnected, and your heart might be trying to get your attention through these other pathways. Keep an open mind and don't automatically assume it's just an old injury flaring up. Sign 5, dizziness, lightheadedness, or fainting, feeling off on your feet. Okay, let's talk about feeling a bit wobbly, alright? Our fifth sign on this list is a feeling of dizziness, lightheadedness, or even actual fainting spells. Now, it's easy to write these off as just getting up too fast or skipping a meal. And sometimes, that's exactly what it is. But when these sensations become more frequent, more intense, or happen without an obvious trigger, that's when your ears should perk up. Imagine this: you stand up from your chair, and instead of just a quick head rush, you feel truly dizzy, like the room is spinning, or you might actually feel like you're going to pass out. Or maybe you're just sitting there, perfectly still, and suddenly a wave of lightheadedness washes over you. In some severe cases, people might actually faint, losing consciousness for a brief moment. Why would your heart cause you to feel dizzy or lightheaded? It all boils down to blood flow to your brain. Your brain needs a constant, steady supply of oxygen-rich blood to function properly. If your heart is struggling to pump blood efficiently, or if there's a temporary blockage or arrhythmia that affects blood flow, your brain might not get enough oxygen. When that happens, your brain signals that something is wrong, and you feel dizzy or lightheaded. If the lack of blood flow is significant enough, you might even faint. For older adults, balance issues and falls are already a concern, so adding dizziness to the mix is extra serious. This isn't just about feeling a little off, it's about your body telling you that a vital organ, your brain, isn't getting what it needs because your heart isn't doing its job efficiently. So, if you're experiencing new or worsening bouts of dizziness, lightheadedness, or if you've had unexplained fainting spells, please, take this seriously. Don't assume it's just dehydration or a minor blip. Especially if these episodes are happening more often, or they come with any of the other symptoms we're talking about today, it's a clear signal that your heart might be working too hard. Or not hard enough, to keep your brain supplied with blood. And that's something you absolutely need to get checked out. Sign 6, nausea, indigestion, or stomach pain, the ugh, my tummy deception. Alright, let's talk about the stomach. This one is super deceptive because it's so common to have an upset stomach, right? Our sixth early warning sign often gets completely brushed aside as just indigestion, heartburn, a nervous stomach, or something I ate. But pay close attention here, because nausea, stomach pain, or feelings that mimic indigestion can absolutely be a sign of a looming heart attack, especially for older women. We're talking about feeling nauseous, having an upset stomach, or even vomiting. You might feel a burning sensation in your upper abdomen, similar to heartburn, but it just doesn't feel quite right. Or perhaps a general discomfort or pressure in your stomach area that's hard to pin down. It's not necessarily excruciating pain, but more of an uncomfortable, persistent feeling. Why would a heart problem make your stomach churn? Well, again, it comes back to those interconnected nerve pathways we talked about earlier. The nerves that supply your heart are close to the nerves that go to your stomach and digestive system. When your heart is in distress, your brain can get those signals mixed up, interpreting them as stomach upset or indigestion. Additionally, if your heart isn't pumping blood efficiently, it can affect blood flow to your digestive system, which can also lead to feelings of nausea or discomfort. This is particularly common in women, who often report nausea and vomiting as prominent heart attack symptoms, sometimes even more so than classic chest pain. It can feel like a really bad case of the flu, but without the fever or body aches. So, here's the crucial point: if you're experiencing new, unexplained nausea, stomach pain, or indigestion-like symptoms that don't seem to be related to anything you ate, or if they're persistent and come along with that fatigue, shortness of breath, or any other odd feeling, do not just pop an antacid and hope for the best. Especially if these symptoms feel different from your usual indigestion, or if they seem to worsen with activity and improve with rest. Your gut feeling about your gut might actually be your heart trying to send you a very clear message. It's better to be safe than sorry, and a simple checkup can give you that peace of mind. So far, we've covered 6 pretty vital signs: that strange, deep fatigue, unexpected shortness of breath, chest discomfort that's more than just a passing ache, pain spreading to your arm, back, neck, or jaw, feeling dizzy or lightheaded, and that sneaky nausea or stomach pain. These are the kind of things that, when they pop up, especially for us 60-plus folks, we tend to rationalize them away. Oh, I'm just getting old, it's nothing, I ate too much. But knowing these signs, being aware of them, means you can stop and ask yourself, is this really normal for me? Or is my body trying to tell me something more? That moment of awareness can make all the difference. We still have a couple more critical signs to discuss, plus what you should do when you notice these things, and some vital lifestyle changes to keep your heart ticking strong. This information could be life-saving. Alright, we're doing great, folks. We've already gone through 6 really important signs that your heart might be sending you an early warning. I hope you're taking notes, or at least really soaking this in, because understanding these can truly make a world of difference. Now, let's get into the last couple of signs on our list. These can be a bit more subtle, even a little spooky, but they are just as crucial to recognize. Sign 7, unexplained sweating. Okay, this next one is often missed because, let's be real, we all sweat, right? Especially if it's hot out, or you're working out, or even just feeling a bit anxious. but what we're talking about here is unexplained sweating, particularly cold sweats, that seem to come out of nowhere. Imagine this: you're just sitting around, maybe watching TV, the room temperature is fine, you haven't exerted yourself, and suddenly, you break out in a cold sweat. Your skin might feel clammy, cold, and damp, even though you're not hot. It's that kind of sweat you get when you're really sick, or feeling profoundly weak. It's not your typical workout sweat or hot day sweat. This is a profound, unsettling kind of perspiration. Now, why does this happen? When your heart is struggling, and especially if it's not getting enough oxygen, your body's fight or flight response can kick in. This is your body going into emergency mode. Part of that response is activating your sympathetic nervous system, which then triggers your sweat glands into overdrive. It's your body's attempt to cool down in response to the stress and exertion your heart is undergoing, even if you're not physically exerting yourself. It's a sign of significant stress on your cardiovascular system. For older adults, this symptom can be particularly concerning because it's often accompanied by other subtle signs like fatigue or mild discomfort. It's your body telling you it's under duress. So, if you suddenly find yourself breaking out in cold, clammy sweats without any clear reason, you're not hot, you haven't just exercised, you don't have a fever, that's a serious red flag. Don't just dismiss it as, "Oh, I must be getting a chill," or "I'm just feeling a little off." This could be your heart yelling for help. Pair this with any other symptom we've talked about, and you absolutely need to act. Sign 8, a general feeling of impending doom or unusual anxiety. This last sign is perhaps the hardest to put your finger on, and it's certainly the most unsettling. It's a feeling that many heart attack survivors describe, especially in the days or weeks leading up to the event, a general sense of unease, anxiety, or even a feeling of impending doom. This isn't your everyday stress or worry about paying bills or what's for dinner. This is a profound, unexplained feeling of dread or intense anxiety that washes over you. You might feel restless, agitated, or just have a strong, unsettling sense that something is terribly wrong, even if you can't logically explain why. People have described it as a feeling of dread, a sense of doom, or an unshakable feeling that something bad is about to happen. Why would your heart cause this kind of feeling? Well, when your heart is in distress, it triggers a cascade of physiological responses throughout your body. Your nervous system goes into overdrive, releasing stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones, while helpful in a true emergency, can create intense feelings of anxiety, panic, and even a sense of unreality when they're released without an obvious external threat. It's your body's deep, primal survival instinct screaming, even if your conscious mind hasn't quite caught up yet. For older adults, this can be especially tricky. Sometimes we attribute anxiety to daily stresses or just getting older. But if this feeling of intense, unexplained dread or anxiety is new, severe, and persistent, and especially if it accompanies any of the other physical symptoms we've discussed, it's not just in your head. It could be your body's deep, intuitive warning system firing off a critical alarm. So, if you find yourself suddenly consumed by an inexplicable sense of dread, overwhelming anxiety, or just that chilling feeling that something isn't right, trust your gut. Your body is incredibly smart, and sometimes, it knows things before your logical brain does. This is a very real, though less tangible, symptom that many people report before a major cardiac event. Don't dismiss it as just nerves, it could be your heart trying to communicate a deep, urgent need. Okay, my friends, we've just gone through all 8 of those crucial early warning signs of a heart attack that you absolutely cannot ignore, especially as we age. Let's quickly recap them, just to make sure they're locked in your mind. 1. Unexplained, profound fatigue. 2. Shortness of breath, trouble catching your wind. 3. Chest discomfort. 4. Pain or discomfort in other body parts. 5. Dizziness, lightheadedness, or fainting. 6. Nausea, indigestion, or stomach pain. 7. Unexplained cold sweats. 8. A general feeling of impending doom or unusual anxiety. Hey everyone! If you've been spotting any of those 8 crucial early warning signs we talked about, it's action time. Don't wait, knowing is only the first step. In the next part, we'll dive into exactly what you can do to protect your heart and your health. Make sure to subscribe to 60 Plus Wellness Way and share this with your friends and family who need to hear this too. Your heart matters, let's keep it strong together.